All right. Welcome back to the main stage of the Developer Showcase. We welcome on stage Mateusz from scriptwelder Games.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine. Having fun so far.
Yes, and Mateusz brings a game with him. Let's start the trailer so you can see a little bit about it. And the game is named Deep Sleep Labyrinth of the Forsaken. Would you like to give us like a short introduction of what the game is and what it's about?
The game tells a story of Amy, who looks for some traces of echoes of her recently deceased brother in weird nightmarish realm of dreams. Because she found out he was experimenting with some sort of lucid dreaming techniques. And she soon finds out that there's much more to it than meets the eye, that there is some sinister force lurking in the depths that doesn't like when people poke their heads there. So, well, that's a very brief summary of the story, but we'll have to do.
So, you're obviously, we talked yesterday, you're a very experienced developer. You started out way back with Flash games, which is very close to my heart because I've been a Flash developer for years and I miss Adobe Flash. I would love to go back. And so this game has its root also in like a Flash game series, right?
Yes, that's correct. Flash games were, well, super close to my heart too. It was an incredible tool that allowed hundreds, thousands of people to express themselves in a way that was, well, unheard of before. Because before that, you had to like make a game, put in an exe file. People didn't want to download exe files because there were viruses in them. So that was this way of, actually starting to allowing people to make games. And Deep Sleep was actually one of the first games I made. It was my first point-and-click game. It was created for a contest. I just took a shot, and people liked it, so I made 2 more of those games, making it for a trilogy. And now, years later...
What were they called, actually?
It was Deep Sleep, Deeper Sleep, and The Deepest Sleep. And now we have the 4th one, technically, which is not a direct sequel, or it's not a remake. It takes part in the same universe. You don't have to know the previous titles, of course, but fans will probably be able to spot some callbacks, maybe some Easter eggs of the old games.
And now we are going to see your beautiful trailer and all that. I'm curious about the choice of art style with the pixelized art style.
Well, actually, the first game already had a pixelated art style, but Flash games were made with this static point of view, like a first-person point of view with static screens. It was only when I advanced to making games for full releases for Steam. I made the games where you could actually see your character walking around, but I stuck to the pixelated style because throughout the years, as I was making those Flash games, it kind of became my recognizable little thing. And I guess it's like I'm a self-taught pixel maker. I don't really consider it to be an actual pixel art because it I don't know. It's just me putting some pixels on screen.
So I gotta ask Sophia, because Sophia played yesterday. It's like a 10-15 minute demo, I would say.
It takes roughly 20 to 30 minutes for people to play through it.
Yeah. How did you like it, Sophia?
I really enjoyed it, and you got so many different feelings from it. Also, Matthias, you're very polite. I see like some sort of politeness shining through the game in the sense of dialogue, and it's like, do you want to pick this one up? And I found it so entertaining at some point. But also, it's a horror game. It's a very different horror game from horror games because it's more like about the atmosphere and feeling. So will you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, gladly. I believe horror games should be much more than just jump scares. And I actually learned that back in the day when I was making those Flash games. I was watching a lot of those, early YouTubers playing through horror games, and I just noticed what was making them react in different ways. I noticed this is just jump scare to jump scare. There's nothing really either funny or really scary. It's just annoying, if anything. So I guess just by watching some of those people play those games, I kind of got a feeling of how should I pace the the tension in a game. And this is why I decided to make a horror game that relies more on an eerie atmosphere and like this rising tension rather than just jump scares. So throughout the years, people actually been telling like, "Oh, I played through this game. I was kind of scared that something's gonna jump at me, and nothing did, and that was even more scary." So yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that there's absolutely no jump scares in the game because there might be some moments that are like more intense than others, but I try to rely more of this atmosphere, this feeling of maybe solitude, maybe like this like oppressive forces pushing from all directions.
Yeah, because Amelia or Amy is definitely on her own. That is for sure. But also, she wakes up in the middle of her brother being deceased. But you also told me yesterday that we actually start in the second level. So there will be some storyline before and some storyline after.
Yes, the demo is one of the earlier stages of the game, but I selected this one because it actually shows a lot of game mechanics that's not shown, for example, in the first level. That's very much of an introduction and much more linear, classic point-and-click, and the game just starts introducing those additional mechanics, additional components later on in the demo. In the level that I picked for the demo.
So you just mentioned the game mechanics, basically. So I was like, when Sophia was playing, I was like watching, and I was really surprised. I was like expecting a point-and-click adventure game, but there was much more to it, right? You have like several things that you typically wouldn't see in a point-and-click adventure game. So how did you get there? How did you introduce all those elements that are very special to this kind of genre?
I believe I love point-and-click games, but I like also mixing things up a little. And I strongly believe that the main power that indie developers have is this ability to experiment. Because if you're making like a AAA game that has to be like it has to follow a certain path. Because there are high risks involved with those high budget projects. For indie game devs, people can afford some, taking some risks, and this is why I decided that I actually want to, experiment with combining different genres. So one of the point and clicks that I made back in the Flash days was anti-escape room, which was basically played it like an escape room game, which is point and click, but in reverse. So instead of trying to get out of the room, you wanted to secure it, lock yourself in. And you can say this stuck with me, and I like to mix some different game mechanics in every game I make, and this one is no exception. So you have traditional running around, collecting items, using them to solve puzzles, but also there's some elements of turn-based combat. There's also element of upgrading your character, and more.
So you the game, this game, Deep Sleep has been in development for 3 years now.
Yeah, I mean, over 3 years. Can't exactly pinpoint the moment I started working on it because it started off prototyping, but we could say that it's over 3 years in development at this point.
And how come you chose like lucid dreaming?
Well, I mean, it is set in the same universe as the first Deep Sleep, which was all about lucid dreaming, and that was chosen for the theme of that particular game because it felt like not entirely explored topic in games, and also in general it felt like this is uncharted territory a little bit because, well, dreams kind of feel mysterious. They can be also scary if you drive the story in the right direction. So I decided that that's going to be a good theme of the game, and it also allowed me to make like weird transitions from one room to another, that transitioning from one place to another that wouldn't make sense in a normal world, but makes kind of sense in a dream world because it's a dream. So those weird architectures, like stairwells leading nowhere, or just leading to like one single room that at the top of like a weird building. Those weird places, weird architectures that I always liked, and I felt like that's gonna be a good fit to the game if it's set in this world of dreams.
Okay, because we encountered this mysterious friend in your demo. Will there be more encounters with other kinds of mysterious friends, or maybe enemies?
Yes, there will be a whole cast of characters. Some are friendly, some are not, some both. The demo only has like some slice of the story, so obviously couldn't show much of it. Also, for spoilers reason, can't really reveal much. But yes, we will meet some friends. We'll meet some enemies. So not that every enemy that we meet is immediately a monster that we have to run away from or fight. They're just some unpleasant characters that are not really liking our presence.
So let's get more into the technical kind of stuff. I'm really interested in. So we have like a 2D, or you have like a 2D pixelated game, but when you take a look at your inventory, you can also like look at the objects in there and like turn them around and look at them from all sides. So how did you arrive there?
Well, I was always making 2D games, and that was my thing, pixelated 2D games. But I felt if I had this inventory that you can like inspect more thoroughly, rotate the item around, that would open up the game to possibilities of having more things like puzzles inside of an item that you rotate and you have to manipulate, or just having additional things like, oh, you turn around the photograph and there's some text, just some interesting little trivia, or just something, or maybe a hint for a puzzle. I never really worked with 3D before, so that was my first shot at it. So I decided that to keep it like consistent with the aesthetic of the game, I will go for low poly, this retro 3D that has this a little PlayStation 1 feel to it. Not just because making low poly felt like, little easier for a total beginner like me, but also it kind of fits the atmosphere of the game a lot more.
So for how long has the game been in development so far?
Development?
Yeah, from
3 years.
3 years. Wow.
Yeah.
So when is the release going to be?
Well, we plan to release this year.
This year. All right. So you're very close to like release or not, or very close to finish, more or less.
Yeah, still lots of work to be done, but like hopefully it's the last stretch. The game has to still be thoroughly play tested. There are still some issues with text or translations. I'm making this game like in 2 languages. My language is Polish and English, so I need to make sure that I put both of those in. Also some game balance need to be done because the game has certain progression. You fight enemies in a turn-based combat, and your character can have different, basically varying level of strength depending on how you build your character differently. So we'll have to run some tests, play around with some numbers, add some here, some there.
So I'm sure you've like learned a lot in the last 3 years while working on the game. Are there some things that stand out to you that you might want to tell like the other developers that are like watching and listening, basically?
I don't know really. I definitely learned a lot. I'm not gonna lie, I have fun making games, so I definitely have fun making this one. Making this was a lot of hard work for many reasons. One of them being that the game has light system, but since it's 2D game, I had to add certain hints for the game engine to know how to propagate the lights in the scenes, which added a lot of work because I had to draw every sprite twice, basically, one in a normal hour color space, and the other that would be read by the engine to know how the light would react around it. That added a lot of work, and it could be a dangerous decision to make to go this way, but I think it's worth it because it also produces a really nice results.
So in terms of character as well, I'm very interested in Amy. Of course, we will hear more about her, but what is the sort of plan for her journey, and how did it become to be her? Why Amy?
Well, we will learn more about her throughout the game from different sources, not directly, but we will be reading through some notes that will, hint of more of how she is, who she is. Also, how the game is divided in levels, and each level being a dream. Between those dreams, we are visiting the real world, and in that real world, we will also play as Amy, and there we can learn a little bit more about her. For example, by listening to voicemail that was left by our friend that was concerned that we were not, talking back to them. So yeah. We will learn more about her throughout the game, and why Amy? Well, that depends. If you're asking like why is she here, like she's looking for her brother, whom she did not have the best relation with at the like recent times, and it causes like it's a big regret to her, and also a bit of a driving force for her that she wants to find this closure, and she discovers that there might be something left of him in this weird realm, so she almost clutches to the hope of finding him there.
So Deep Sleep is not the only game you've been working on in the last 3 years or in the recent times. You told us also yet that you've been working on an educational games. Would you like to tell us more what the last game you released was basically?
It was before I started working on this one, so it was more than 3 years.
All right.
That was a previous project. The game is called Waterworks, and you can play it on free in a browser. It's on itch.io. It was made in a cooperation with my friend Wacław Kurczykowski from the University of Gdańsk. And the game is essentially about a water delivery system in the medieval town of Grudziądz, Poland. And I had a mission to make this into an interesting, fun game, which I think is not something that you think about when you think educational games, because usually they're either just simple quizzes or even not that. So I decided to go with a little bit different route, and I made a game that's basically a strategy game with cards, deck building, and well, a little bit of town management when it comes to water delivery, at least. So it's a turn-based game. Each turn you get some cards, you can play them, and you construct either buildings that will later be used for that water delivery, like a water wheel or like pumps. And throughout the game, you research technology that actually existed throughout the ages. So you start off with a very simple, like basically people walking around with buckets of water, and as you progress with the game, they develop more and more advanced ways of water delivery, and you can watch the entire town evolve right with it. So all the buildings are slowly changing from turn to turn. As you progress, as you research new technologies and improve the rising to keep with the rising demand of water, because the population of town also grows, so you need to keep up with it. So you need to not just keep things as they are, but you actually constantly have to improve.
That really sounds amazing. I really have to try it. I would have expected like a building game where you have to build those waterworks, but a card game is really it sounds very interesting. I have to take a look at it.
We also had to make it educational. So there are actual historical information. There are some facts that will pop up on the screen ever so often. When you're researching a new type of water wheel, you can read about it. And I think that's the key. You don't have to read about it. It's not something you have to do to progress into the game, but it's additional thing. Players will do it if they invest in the game. At some point, people will just read through it, and then they will naturally learn by playing.
That's a fantastic approach, because we're at the studio I'm working at. We are also working at an educational game and on a card game as well. So I'm really that's quite interesting. Thanks for the advice. All right, we are slowly wrapping things up. So you're a very experienced developer. You've seen some ups and downs, obviously. At the moment, at least, if you look at the bigger scale of things, it's not looking very good for the games industry. All of us hope that it will be going up again. What keeps you going? What is it that keeps you motivated to continue making games, even if there are difficult times like that?
Well, I always wanted to make games, and I just wanted to make games that I knew that I would want to play. So maybe that's a little bit naive, but to me, games are not products. They're just games. They're just things that are supposed to, bring some fun and joy to people. And that's why I'll keep making them. I'll just keep making games.
Yeah, I think that's an answer that many developers probably would give. Yeah, it's really, that's That's what we do. That's what we like to do, and we can't do anything else. All right, thanks so much, Matthias. When people would like to play your game or reach you at some point, how can they get in touch, basically?
Well, I'm here. I have my station, booth 1, at the developer showcase, where you can play through the demo of the game. You can follow me on Facebook, on Twitter, and I'm scriptwelder everywhere. So I also have a Discord server, and you can find the link to it on my Twitter. So that's the easy way of getting there.
Okay, thanks so much. Please give a nice round of applause for Matthias.
Thank you.
For
Thank you very
being on
much.
Stage and making this beautiful game. It's really good luck with it, finishing it, selling it, hopefully.
I'll try. Do my best.
Yes. All right. Have a nice day.
Thanks.